InfoPlus for genuine information.
Namaste and welcome to the show InfoPlus with me, your host Rebecca Terai. Today we join the world in commemorating the victims of the Holocaust. In Kathmandu, a memorable event was held to remember the 6 million Jewish lives lost and honor the resilience of survivors. Let's take a look at the ceremony and the powerful message of remembrance it conveyed. In a solemn memory held in Kathmandu, the embassies of Israel and Germany marked the International Day of Commemoration in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. The event held on January 27, 2025 honored the 6 million Jewish lives lost and reinforced the global commitment to remembering history. Six candles were lit as a tribute to those who perished during one of the darkest chapters of human history. A moving testimony from a Holocaust survivors was also screened, offering a powerful first-hand account of suffering and resilience. Speaking on the lessons of history, Honorable Dr. Surya Prasad Sharma Dhungel of the National Human Rights Commission emphasized that the Holocaust was not just a tragedy for the Jewish people or Europe. It was a failure of humanity itself.
Today, January 27, we gather here in solemn remembrance of one of the darkest chapters. These words we have been repeatedly hearing, darkest chapters in human history, the Holocaust. On this day, we honor the memory of the 6 million Jewish men, women and children. Actually, when we talk about Jews, when we hear about these things, recently, as my daughter is married to a Jew community, Jew engineer in Australia, and there was a news about the attack on Jews. I immediately called my daughter and said, "Are you safe?" She see the danger, how still now, the Jews are suffering, psychologically, they had to suffer. And children who were systematically murdered, as we say, alongside many others, millions of others. The day thus marks the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau, a place that remains an eternal symbol of humanity's darkest chapter that reminds us never again. The Holocaust was not merely a tragedy of the Jewish people or Europe. It was a failure of humanity itself. It serves as a stark reminder of what can happen when hatred is normalized, when prejudice goes unchecked, and when justice is denied. Nepal, a country that always values peace and harmony, has also experienced its share of suffering. The decade-long conflict left thousands of families grieving, searching for answers, and waiting for discovery of truth and justice. As we reflect on the Holocaust, it is also an opportunity to draw lessons for Nepal's own journey towards reconciliation and justice through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission process, which has been unduly crippled for nearly 2 decades. The nation's prolonged silence is conveying a negative message: denial of justice.
U.S. Ambassador Dean R. Thompson highlighted the shared responsibility to stand against anti-Semitism, racism, and all forms of intolerance. He conveyed greetings from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, reaffirming unwavering support for Holocaust survivors and their heirs.
We've gathered today as a break from our normal routines to solemnly reflect on the events of the Holocaust, this horrific event that, as we've heard, claimed the lives of over 6 million Jews and significant other populations, including the Roma, the disabled, Jehovah's Witnesses, LGBTQI communities, and so many others. These are tragedies that we can never, never, never forget, and that we have to constantly remind ourselves the importance of silence is consent. We want to both honor those who endured these atrocities and remind one another that it's our collective responsibility today to stand against anti-Semitism, against racism, and against all forms of hatred and intolerance. One personal reflection I wanted to make, Benjamin, I've had the opportunity to spend some time in Berlin, and I just have to, honor the German government's commitment to remembering. The memorials there are touching, truthful, and important and significant part of memorializing what happened. And we appreciate that very, very much. Having also had numerous chances to visit Israel, it's wonderful to see what the Israeli people and the Jewish people have built out of such tragedy, and we remind ourselves of our enduring partnership with Israel as we remember the horrors of the Holocaust. The United States remains firm in its commitment to the international Jewish community and to all those who seek a life of dignity and one free from persecution. And I hope that together we can continue to build a world that remembers our history and is committed to a future of respect, compassion, and peace for all people. I wanted to take one moment just to offer greetings from Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who issued a statement today on the International Day of Remembrance. And in particular, I wanted to note his comment that as Secretary, he will continue his unwavering support for the Holocaust survivors and heirs. And so I'm very, very confident that we will continue to be a partner in remembering and honoring the period of such devastation.
Germany Deputy Chief of Mission Benjamin Schedel reminded attendees that the Holocaust did not begin with gas chambers. It began with words of hate and division. He called for continued efforts to combat anti-Semitism and discrimination in all forms.
Today we mark 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau by Soviet troops on January 27, 1945. A moment in history that revealed the depth of human cruelty and the unspeakable horrors inflicted upon millions of innocent lives. This solemn day serves as a poignant reminder of consequences of hatred, bigotry, and totalitarianism. As we gather here in Kathmandu, we join survivors, families, and leaders across the globe, particularly in Oswiecim in Poland, where the Auschwitz camps once stood. There, millions perished as victims of the Nazi regime's calculated and industrialized genocide. I extend my deepest gratitude to the Israeli Embassy for jointly organizing this profound occasion today, which unites us in shared reflection and resolve. This day compels us to honor the memory of 6 million Jews, men, women and children, who were systematically murdered alongside the countless others who were targeted by the Nazis' dehumanizing ideology. These include the Sinti and Roma, whose culture and communities were nearly erased, Slavic populations, degraded as subhumans and exploited for forced labor, prisoners of war left to perish from starvation and disease, victims of state-mandated euthanasia programs where the vulnerable were deemed unworthy of life, LGBTQI individuals persecuted and criminalized for their identity, and all those who resisted the Nazi regime out of religious, political, or moral conviction. We also remember the survivors, whose stories of unimaginable suffering and resilience continue to educate and inspire. Yet we must also acknowledge the profound struggles many endured in rebuilding their lives, often in a world that remained indifferent or hostile to their pain. Their courage in bearing witness serves as an enduring beacon, challenging us to confront both historical and contemporary injustices. So while today is primarily a day of remembrance, it is also a call to action. The Holocaust did not begin with gas chambers, it began with words. Words of hate, of division and dehumanization. This sobering reality underscores our shared responsibility as democratic citizens to stand resolutely against anti-Semitism, racism, xenophobia, and all forms of discrimination. This commitment is more critical than ever as we are witnessing the resurgence of hate-fueled ideologies, not only in parts of Europe but across the globe. Disturbing trends of rising anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, and increasing hostility toward minorities remind us that history's lessons must never be taken for granted. Yet, even amid these challenges, there are powerful symbols of hope and reconciliation. One such example is the enduring diplomatic relationship between Israel and Germany, which this year celebrates its 60th anniversary. This partnership stands as a testament to humanity's capacity for healing, for reconciliation, dialogue, and progress, even in the aftermath of unspeakable atrocities. And this reminds us that through mutual understanding and collaboration, nations can transcend even the darkest chapters of their history.
Israeli Ambassador Smilik Erisbaz emphasized the importance of educating younger generations to ensure that a tragedy is never repeated. He reflected on the United Nations efforts in establishing Holocaust remembrance as a global priority.
United Nations General Assembly held its first special session to commemorate the Holocaust. It was to mark the 60th anniversary of liberation of Auschwitz. For the first time, a Yad Vashem museum exhibition was presented at the entrance to the United Nations building in New York, and a special ceremony was held on the evening of that day in the presence of the UN Secretary General and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Israel, and for the first time the anthem of Israel, Hope, Hatikva, was sung. That year, 2005, was dedicated to promoting awareness and engagement from the side of Israel with the UN in general and with subject of the Holocaust at the United Nations specifically. It was done with friends such as the then Secretary General Kofi Annan and the UN member states cooperating with Israel. The culmination of the process was the adoption of the General Assembly resolution marked 60/7, which was drafted by a special team established for this purpose in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel together with the renowned historian Professor Yuda Bauer. Against all odds and concerns, the team insisted on including two components in this resolution. One, the establishment of a special department in the UN Secretariat whose sole function is to commemorate the Holocaust, hold ceremonies within the UN system around the world, as well as the establishment of a permanent exhibition on the final solution and the Holocaust in the visitors' route of the United Nations building. The second component, the establishment of an International Holocaust Remembrance Day. On the recommendation of Professor Bauer, it was proposed and set January 27th, the day that Germany already designated beforehand, which is the day of the liberation of Auschwitz death camps by the Red Army. Since then, the entire world has commemorated the Holocaust on this day, and this year will mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the extermination camp. The draft resolution was promoted within the corridors of the United Nations in New York, leading to the approval of it in consensus. I thank all those present here for honoring the memory of the 6 million Jewish people murdered in the Holocaust and many, many others from various nations and groups, as well as fighters against the Nazis from the ghettos and from the Allied forces. We mark this International Holocaust Remembrance Day around the world, as well as in Israel in April, with about 100,000 very elderly Holocaust survivors. Naturally, this number will decrease in the coming years. It will not change the supreme duty. Humanity must mark this day in memory of the victims in order to educate the younger generations so that tragedy of such great magnitude will never happen again.
Adding to the reflective atmosphere, students from Himalaya Boarding School and Kathmandu Pragya Kunja School performed musical pieces paying tribute to the victims and survivors. A heartfelt musical tributes by students added to the reflective atmosphere as the exhibition Auschwitz, A Place on Earth, continued to educate and remind future generations of the lessons of history.
Terai
Info Plus for genuine information.
Now we'll be showcasing the International Education Fair hosted by Study Square Nepal, where students got the chance to explore incredible opportunities for studying abroad. With representatives from top universities across the world, Himalaya TV brings you exclusive coverage of this impactful event, highlighting Study Square Nepal's commitment to empowering Nepal students with the right knowledge and opportunities for a global future. Study Square Nepal successfully hosted its International Education Fair, bringing together over 400 students and representatives from more than 30 top universities across Australia, USA, UK, Canada, Germany, France, Dubai and Malta. This grand event provided students with direct access to authentic information on courses, scholarships, career opportunities, and language requirements.
So we are the leading university in Germany for media-related studies. We are also one of the top universities for game design studies in Germany. And when you compare with other schools, I think the location plays a major role as well. We are in the most centrally located part in the city of Berlin with easy access to other communication or transportation hubs.
As a Northumbria University, it's a public university. Our roots are pretty old. We started in 1880s. We are located at Newcastle, that is northeast part of England, a beautiful city, quite known for its offering a very vibrant life for international students. We have been considered as one of the best city of UK for international students, constantly for long journey.
स्टेट युनिभर्सिटी चाहिँ ओहायोमा छ अनि यो चाहिँ हाम्रो धेरै जस्तो साउथ ईस्ट एसियाको स्टुडेन्टहरूले चाहिँ प्रेफर गर्ने युनिभर्सिटीमै पर्छ र यसमा चाहिँ 100+10 मेजर्सहरू छन् र इट्स अ पब्लिक युनिभर्सिटी प्लस it has a very affordable tuition cost. So त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि also they find the right major. So that's why students prefer apply for our grad courses, undergrad courses from around the world.
So University of Adelaide is located in South Australia, and Adelaide is the capital city of South Australia. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And University of Adelaide is only group of 8 university in Australia. Group of 8 is top 8 research intensive university of Australia. And it is also a third oldest institution. It is 2025 is our 151 years. And if you are looking for group of 8 university with the best ranking, we are 82 as per 2025.
As a special incentive, participating students received free IELTS and TOEFL mock test vouchers, a GRE workshop for US-focused postgraduate students, and free processing to Study Square's partners institutions.
TOEFL र GRE मा we do not हामीले चाहिँ यस्तो स्पेसिफाई गर्दैनौँ कि यति चाहिन्छ अन्डरग्रेड र पोस्टग्रेड एडमिसन्सलाई। यो चाहिँ हरेक युनिभर्सिटी हरेक कन्ट्री को अनुसार फरक हुन्छ। सो हरेक युनिभर्सिटीले आफ्नो हिसाबले राख्न सक्छन् र बेसिक रिक्वायरमेन्ट्स हेर्दाखेरि अन्डरग्रेडको लागि टोफलमा अराउन्ड 70 आउट अफ 120 र पोस्टग्रेडको लागि 90 आउट अफ 120 इज लाइक द मोस्ट रेगुलर रिक्वायरमेन्ट्स वी हैव सीन। कसैको कम्ती पनि हुन्छ, कसैको बढी पनि हुन्छ।
Renowned expert Ms. Sujata Sherpa, head of Nepal operation at Study Square, conducted exclusive sessions on financial documentation, planning, and writing a strong SOP for admission and visa success.
Possible by universities which are the best fit for the students, we are bringing them together here and providing this platform. Secondly, we work with more than 400 plus institutions across the globe. So any students who comes here, they get a kind of a 360-degree support. Whether you talk about the coachings, whether you talk about the test registrations, whether you talk about the study abroad, visa guidance, and career counseling. I myself am working in this sector for the last 21 years, have been to many countries and been through, visited a lot of universities, interacted with a lot of university faculty, academics, think tanks you could refer. And it is the kind of information, the experience that we have, that's obviously adds a lot of value to the students. So we know exactly, like when someone comes to me, for example, for a BIT program, I know exactly the BIT program of one or like a university and how it differs from the other university. So accordingly we can provide them the best possible information so that the student, based on their budget, based on their interest, based on their strength, they could choose. So that's the sort of a guidance we give, and our services are more or less, it's entirely free for the students. We give a good amount of discounts to the students for the coaching classes. Currently we are offering 50% off, and just a 3,000 ma they get 6 weeks of classes for English, and we have a dedicated teacher. Why we are doing this? It's not just to get the students. Where we see a lack is like in the entire market, people are not putting an effort to take the English coaching seriously. किनभने हजुरको बाहिर गइसकेपछि तपाईं स्टुडेन्ट भिजामा हुँदा your academic success is so important, अनि हजुरको स्टुडेन्ट्सले academic success हुनको लागि they need is the English skill, so which is very neglected. हजुरले देख्नुहुन्छ मार्केटमा like people will go around कि MY भयो, English required भएन भने, but what they don't realize that they are opting for English speaking countries, so it's so important, हैन? So that is why we try to do that, and we work very closely with the Pearson, British Council, and ETS. ETS is a official test provider for a TOEFL and GRE. So we work very closely so that the student can get the first hand information and correct and accurate information.
Students and parents also had the opportunity for one-on-one career counseling, helping them make informed decisions for their study abroad journey.
Info Plus, for genuine information.
Thank you for watching Info Plus on Himalayan Television. Namaste.
Info Plus, for genuine information.